wrestling fans? Welcome back to the Wrestling Wrap Up. I am your host, the Megastar Austin Savage. This is episode 11, part 2. In this part of the show, I'm going to talk about Tough Enough. The obstacle course looked tough. And Bill is really busting these kids' balls. And I'm happy. I want these kids to know that they've earned something when they win it. Evilise, she looked terrible. She's been... I'm surprised she hasn't been in the bottom 3 yet, you know? I really am. Up until this show, Monday. Martin and Luke looked strong again, as usual. Rey Mysterio was the guest speaker this week, and I thought his take on wrestling, being the smaller guy, I can really relate to that because when I was wrestling, until the latter part of my career, probably the last 4 years of my career, I was well under 200 pounds. I was, Rey Mysterio size. So I understand where he's coming from with the struggles that he had to go through to get to where he is today. And I was a 19-time WCCWA heavyweight champion, and I never weighed 200 pounds, so I understand it. This week's life lesson was teamwork. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Martin looked really, really strong this week. Ryan tripped getting into the ring and was cut from the skills challenge. Ryan, when are you gonna get it, bro? Seriously? Evie injured herself on a botched leapfrog, and it's basic, people. Come on, anybody can do. You don't remember playing leapfrog as a kid? To hell with making it about a wrestling move. We all played leapfrog as a kid. It's pretty basic stuff. One person bends down, the other person jumps over him. Seriously? The skill building exercise this week was a basketball game with the Statesmen, which are a midget basketball team. John Sally, a 3-time NBA champion, was the coach of the Tough Enough guys, whereas Book was the coach of the Statesmen. John Sally gave them a 4 out of 10 as far as their teamwork. What does that tell you? There is no teamwork. My favorite part of the show, up until this point, was... my favorite part's coming later, and you guys will all be shocked when you hear this. My favorite part of the show up until this point was Ryan apparently got under the skin of Booker T. And, he got what he had coming to him for a long time now. Booker T grabs him by the shirt, lifts him up, and basically slaps the shit out of him. Figuratively. Verbally, we'll say. Martin looked amazing in the skills challenge. And I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but both of the remaining girls looked terrible in the ring. And I don't know if it's because of what happened earlier or what, but they look terrible. They look like they don't belong. Ryan, surprisingly, did great in the skills challenge. So that little conversation he had with Booker really paid off for him at this point. Luke actually looked bad this week. More on that later. Ryan was cut first in the finals of the skills challenge because he was overselling. He's too cartoonish, and week in and week out he's too cartoonish with his reactions and his overselling of moves. Martin won in the skills challenge again this week. And Luke was bitching again this week after not winning the skills challenge and losing again to Martin. Here's an idea, Luke. Step up your game, bro. Seriously? like I said, Ryan did well in the skills challenge, but in my opinion, not well enough. The bottom three were Christina, Ryan, and Luke. Now I'd like to go over the commentary between, the conversation between Stone Cold and Luke. Stone Cold said to Luke, "You eyeballing me, Luke?" Luke's response, "No, sir." Stone Cold, "You better not be." Seriously, the guy's a Hall of Famer. Luke was at the house after being in the bottom three. He was packing his bags, and he says, "Give me one good reason why I'm in the bottom three." "Luke, I'll give you three. One, you're way too cocky for your own good. Two, you showed no teamwork. Being 4 years in the business, you should be a ring general in there. Period. And three, your attitude fucking sucks." During the elimination portion of the show, Stone Cold tells Luke, and again, this makes me laugh, for having 4 years in the ring and being trained by a WWE Hall of Famer, Jeremiah, who's as greener than grass, is outshining you in the ring. Stone Cold calls Luke a dipshit and asks him, "Does that bother you when I call you a dipshit?" Luke replies, "Yeah." Stone Cold says, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" "Not a goddamn thing." And he's right. Luke doesn't dare. And you know, Ryan was eliminated finally after being in the bottom three 3 weeks in a row. His cartoonish behavior finally got him kicked off the show. And, you know, I've been backing Luke since episode 1. I will continue to back him, but I would not be surprised to see him eliminated in the coming weeks because of his attitude, because he's not willing to develop his skill and show the trainers more. Now, just some news and notes. As I don't know if I told you in episode 1, I'm taping this on very early Saturday morning because it's after midnight. Some news and notes. Randy Orton won the World Heavyweight title tonight on SmackDown. Of course, everybody knows this was taped on Tuesday. This means Christian was champion for 48 hours. In episode 10, I covered the stockholders meeting, which was last week in Stamford. Vince said, and I quote, "We always listen to our fans." I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I'm sorry. I don't have it right in front of me. I did take the notes, but... And obviously you don't, Vince, because fans wanted Christian to be World Heavyweight Champion. Not for 48 hours. They wanted him to be a legitimate champion. And you don't see that he could be champion because you fail to recognize his 2 reigns as NWA World Champion while in TNA. Speaking of TNA, they are in fact changing their name to Impact. Whether that's the entire company or they're just dropping the TNA from the show Impact, the title Impact. I'm not sure, but the name change becomes official on the May 12th edition of Impact. Upcoming debuts and returns for TNA Wrestling. There's one return that I'm very excited about, and I will not spoil it here, but I think this person will add a lot to TNA Wrestling once they return. It's been a return I've been wanting to see for a very long time because the way he was treated in the WWE, his skill set, he didn't deserve it. And again, that's Vince punishing a guy from being in TNA and coming to the WWE. Why does anybody want to work for the WWE? I'll tell you why. It's all about the money. You work 300 days a year, they pay you, you know, I mean, if you're on TV, it's probably $126,000 a year or somewhere in there. But you're away from your family all the time. You don't get to see your kids grow up. You don't see your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever the case may be. You're there for the money. You're there to get paid, entertain people, get paid. You're not there for the fans, because most of these guys don't care about their fans. Won't mention any names, but John Cena. Um, you know, the guy that's set to return to TNA in the coming weeks. I'm very happy that he's coming back. It'd be interesting to see what kind of shape he's in, because he hasn't been doing much wrestling lately. But stay tuned to Impact, guys, because I think you're going to be shocked about this return. Alright, that's going to wrap up the show this week. I will be back more than likely very early Tuesday morning after Tough Enough and Raw. I promise to do Tough Enough and Raw in one show this week. I promise, guys. Sorry about that. Again, I feel really bad about that. Alright, this is the Wrestling Wrap-Up. I am your host, the Megastar Austin Savage. Email the show, WrestlingWrapUp@yahoo.com. Follow me on Twitter, @ProudToBeStraightEdge, like the shirt says. Yeah, leave me emails, comments below on the videos. I love hearing from you guys. So, until Monday night, Tuesday morning, whichever it happens to be, I'll see you guys later.